You're listening to Straight Outta Stratford 203 with Zach and Julian, the best sports podcast in Connecticut. Sit back and enjoy the ride in 3, 2, 1.
Straight out of Stratford, slinging takes like Stafford, talking all the big games, have a beer right after. When it comes to the facts and the stats we provide, better know that our names will be up in the rafters.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Straight Outta Stratford, episode number 5. We got a lot of stuff to talk about this week with the baseball trade deadline coming up. You got the NFL training camp starting up. You have college football that's also going to be starting in a couple of weeks. But we do want to start off with a little something that we talked about our last episode. So our last episode, we talked about the UFC 318 pay-per-view. It was a very good pay-per-view. I was watching the main event fight at the end, which was Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway. Great way to close out the evening. I don't know, did you happen to catch any of it, Julian?
I didn't happen to catch it, but I saw that it was went 5 rounds.
Yep, all 5 fights on the main card all went the distance.
That is.
I mean, you can't ask for anything better than that. If you're going to spend the money, you're going to want to see a full, most of the fights are 15 minutes. Main event fight, you got 25 minutes for it being 5 rounds, but you want to see as much fight as you possibly can. And
that is true.
Everyone got to see exactly what they were looking for there. So I will start out a little bit with that. So fight number 1 of the night was between Michael Johnson and Daniel Zellhuber, who won by unanimous decision, and who he was actually the betting underdog as well. Fight number 2 saw another upset as plus 185 underdog Patricio Pitbull defeated Dan Ige by unanimous decision. Then you had fight 3, followed the same exact pattern. Plus 425 underdog Daniel Rodriguez defeated Kevin Holland by unanimous decision. And the one that I was actually kind of most surprised about, other than the main event fight, was the 4th fight on the card being Paulo Costa, who was a plus 180 underdog, and he defeated Roman Kopylov by unanimous decision. But obviously, the main event fight was the one that everyone was really looking for.
Dustin Poirier's last fight.
Dustin Poirier's last fight in his hometown of New Orleans, Louisiana. He did get walked out by Lil Wayne, which was really cool. Obviously, he wanted to perform or have Lil Wayne perform for it, but he just walked him out instead. Still a very cool send-off, having, 2 hometown legends for the last time. And then we actually saw Dustin Poirier lose this fight by unanimous decision as well, as the BMF champion himself, Max Holloway, once again, emerged victorious. And they did their patented little 10-second point down and fight. They point down at the, the ground with about 10 seconds left in the 5th round and just throw absolute haymakers at one another. It's something that Holloway's done throughout a lot of his career, and it's basically notorious for. But so a little analysis on it. I know Holloway dropped Poirier early in the fight with a straight right hand at about 3 minutes and 22 seconds left in that first round. He tried to finish him off with a little ground and pound, was unsuccessful. And then you saw Poirier try to get back to his feet. Holloway again hit him with a left hook, and he tried to stand back up, which dropped him again. And then Poirier caught him with a little bit of ground and pound. Poirier would land a nice combo at 245 that caught Holloway. It wasn't enough. Obviously, they traded shots throughout the end of the first round. Second round was very similar in that sense.
Holloway and Poirier. Sorry for saying Poirier. Holloway and Poirier traded shots for the first few minutes of the second round, but it wasn't until the 235 mark where Holloway hit Poirier with a 3-piece combo that stunned him and moved him back to the cage, where Holloway followed up with a flurry of shots that had Poirier shoot for a takedown. That takedown was unsuccessful, and Holloway proceeded to take Poirier's back and land some ground and pound shots that led to Holloway's mount, which led to Holloway's mount, which Poirier broke with just under a minute left in the second round. He would ride the momentum and drop Holloway with an overhand right with 16 seconds left in the round, which he followed with an attempted guillotine choke that failed and ground and pound that couldn't finish the attempted guillotine choke ground and pound that couldn't finish, while the buzzer sounded to the end of round 2.
Yeah, the end of round 2 was pretty crazy. People were actually saying that second round of that fight was one of the best rounds in any fight so far this year. That round I was blown away by watching that. That was nuts. They did trade a little bit back and forth. Seeing, Poirier try and go for that guillotine at the end kind of threw me off a little bit. I figured he probably would have tried to run in and try and finish Max Holloway off. I did not expect it to be by guillotine choke. It was a very, very weird way to end that round, but overall, the back and forth that we saw between them was absolutely nuts. And then you ended up having a controversy with the scoring. So after that round, there was one judge that scored the round 10-9 in Poirier's favor, while the other two scored at 10-9 in Holloway's favor. To be fair, I thought that it was Poirier's round that he deserved to win that round. There was no question about it. I thought Holloway obviously landed some big shots too, but with the way that Poirier finished the round off, it could have gone either way. I could see it. But then you saw, again, round 3, round 4 was very similar in that same sense. They did throw some pretty decent strikes. You had a couple moments where, Holloway would shake off a left or right hand from Poirier. Same thing. Holloway would throw a combination at Poirier's way, and Poirier would eat it. It was a very back and forth fight the entire time. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they ended up having the final scoring of the fight as 49-46, 48-47, 49-46. So basically, they thought that Holloway dominated that whole entire fight. I could see why they would believe it, and the stat box that I actually have printed out here definitely shows it a little bit more. It could have been a little bit closer. I think Poirier was battling throughout the entire fight, and he had some moments where he looked like he could knock Holloway out, but again, you can't ask for much more of a main event than what you saw that night. 5 rounds between 2 future Hall of Famers, a great way to end Dustin Poirier's career. Unfortunately, he did not get the win at home, but obviously the fans were very happy for the way that he ended his career. Like I said, he's a for sure Hall of Famer, and it was a great fight for him, and hopefully, I think Holloway's got a couple more fights left in him too, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's probably the next one to retire as well. So if you look at these,
what I saw on Instagram was that, I don't know if it was Holloway or Poirier, but they have, like, I think it might have been Holloway. He went up to Poirier's kid, or no,
yes,
or no, Poirier went up to Holloway's kid
yes.
after the fight.
I know exactly which way you were going with that, yeah.
Because I remember the last time they fought, I think Poirier won, right?
Yes, correct.
And his son was upset, and he was like worried because I don't think he'd seen his father lose yet.
Yeah, because he was fairly young.
His son was fairly young, and Poirier went up to him and said, like, your dad's gonna be okay, like, don't worry about it.
Well, that's a big part of the fight business, and you couldn't ask for, like I said, 2 better guys. I mean, obviously, when it comes down to the fighting, they're already very well respected within that nature.
Exactly,
they're both extremely good fighters, but they're also very humble.
For the last time, like, they fought before this one, for Poirier to go out of his way to make sure, like, to comfort Holloway's son, goes to show you that he's just, like, a good human.
Of course, absolutely.
And then after this fight, Holloway's son found Poirier and thanked him for everything and said that, like, you're great. You're, like, one of the best.
Yeah, and they both showed a lot of respect for one another after the fight as well. Multiple times, Holloway actually gave up his post-fight win press conference with Joe Rogan at the end and actually gave it to Dustin Poirier since it was his final fight and it wasn't his hometown, which, again, you got to tip your hat to both guys. Very, very humble individuals
and somehow,
very successful.
Somehow that did not win fight of the night.
I was very surprised that it did not win the fight of the night bonus. I thought for sure it was going to win the fight of the night bonus. I don't remember. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it went to, was it Paulo Costa and Kopylov?
Let me look that
up. I think those two did win the fight of the night bonus. I thought it was going to be Holloway and Poirier winning the fight of the night bonus. I'm very surprised that it wasn't. I was shocked when they released that too, and I think Max Holloway even said it to him in the backstage area when they were leaving. They were like, Dana told us that we didn't end up getting the fight of the night bonus. I don't understand. That's ridiculous. Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
I think Poirier was he was doing an interview with someone, and Holloway walked up behind him and said, Dana told me that we didn't win fight of the night, and Poirier was like, we didn't win fight of the night?
Yeah, no, it was, like I said, absolutely ridiculous, but in my eyes and in the eyes of a lot of fans as well, I think that definitely was fight of the night. Who ended up winning the fight of the night?
It was Brendan Allen and Marvin
Vettori?
Vettori, yeah.
Yeah, see, that was on one of the prelim fights, which I didn't even really get to catch because that's when I was at work, so I got home and watched all of like the main event fights or the main card fights, but I didn't even know that was what time that was on, and that's crazy that they ended up winning the fight of the night. I probably got to go back and watch that a little bit as well too, because watching some of the fight of the nights for all these big pay-per-views is absolutely nutty. That being said, we'll kind of get off the UFC talk a little bit because we do have something that is right around the corner. Well, it's practically upon us at this point, and that is the MLB trade deadline, which is officially over on July 31st.
So
that is
next
the last
Thursday.
day.
Next Thursday is the last possible day you can trade between teams.
Yes, and the one trade that started it out last night, which we had to make sure that we mentioned, I have it pulled up, was the Josh Naylor trade. Josh Naylor, first baseman from the Arizona Diamondbacks, was traded to the Seattle Mariners, and it says in their return the deal sent left-hand pitching prospect Brandon Garcia and right-handed pitching prospect Ashton Izzy to the Diamondbacks. That's where they went. So I was kind of surprised, especially with that trade, because Josh Naylor, I know, has been having a better year, maybe not so much in the power category, but I believe the last stats that I saw from last night was that on the season, he's batting .292 with 11 home runs and somewhere in like the 40s for RBIs. If I'm not mistaken, like 46, 47.
Let me pull those up real quick.
I'm curious to see. But
the only thing I will add to this is that Josh Naylor is a free agent after the end of the season. So my only thought process is that Arizona thought he wasn't going to re-sign there. And they're like, you know what? If he's not going to re-sign with us, at least let's get something for him.
Well, the big thing is I think that this is a big indication for Arizona that they are going to be big sellers.
Yes, I was going to say that too. I mean, it's going to be pretty now it's going to be known, it's pretty obvious that they're going to wind up going more towards the sell, going to go more towards being a selling team towards the deadline after the sweep, the 3-game sweep they had by Houston.
Yeah, no, that was very concerning. But the thing that surprised me the most about it is if you look at the team from a few years ago,
they're
lost
way
in
better.
The World Series.
And
they got better.
They lost in the World Series, got better, and they're somehow
worse.
Struggling.
And that's the thing. I mean, a lot of other teams did get better around them as well, especially in their division. But at the same time, it's like that team, when you looked at their run that they had in the postseason, I believe it was in 2022, was incredible. It was in 2023.
It was 23.
It was the year before the Mets made it. It was the year that Arizona made it. So, yes, it was 2023. That was a hell of a run. Obviously, they ran into an extremely hot Texas Rangers team at that point. But if you look at Arizona, that roster to now, this roster, I believe, is significantly better. And now they're talking about
Corbin Carroll's rookie year.
Well, yeah, but now they're also talking about, you look at the beginning of the year, obviously losing Corbin Burns was a big shot to their lineup.
Yeah.
But then now you're talking about trading Merrill Kelly. You're talking about trading Zach Gallen. Now they trade Josh Naylor away. There's a possibility that Eugenio Suarez is traded.
MVP candidate.
Yeah.
Could be traded mid-season.
I don't know if he's MVP. He's close. I don't know if he's MVP candidate, but he's definitely having one of the best seasons that he's had in his career. And it's very surprising to me that, for the reason why their record is not that great, but still.
I'm just gonna put this out there. I don't know. I'm not saying this is a true statement. Like, don't come at me, but I feel like athletes. I'm not saying they don't try as hard, but I feel like when it comes terms for a contract year, they put out some of their best numbers.
Well, of course. I mean, the thing that I saw, though, too, is, like you said with your point, you see Pete Alonso, for example. Pete Alonso was coming up on the last year of his contract. He knew that he was going to have to, really step it up to get the big contract that he was seeking before, especially with his horrible agent, Scott Boras.
If you're watching, there's no respect for you.
Yeah, I have no respect for you at all. You messed up Pete Alonso's contract big time. But anyway, that being said, with Boras, Pete Alonso had one of the worst years in his career during his contract year.
And he went out.
They paid him, he stepped it up.
Yeah, but that's another thing, right? Athletes have bad contract years, and they go into free agency and expect to get big contracts based on what they did in the past.
Well, that also has to do with very bad agents. Scott Boras again.
You should be happy with Scott Boras because he landed you.
Pete Alonso for Yeah, well, he did, but the thing that I'm happy about, the only reason why I'm a little bit happier about it is because we got Alonso for way cheaper.
True.
He told Alonso, don't worry about it. They're going to give you big money. You're deserving of $300 million. You're going to come out and have another career year, and they're going to be forced to pay you. And then he had the worst year of his career. A lot of teams showed no interest in him, and the Mets were one of the only teams that said, hey, well, we'll give you $100+ million for you to come back and stay with the team that, you started with. And he said, yeah, sure.
Doesn't he have an opt-out, though?
Yeah, he does have a player opt-out. I believe it is after one season, so technically after this year he could opt out. Chances are he does not.
I have Naylor's stats pulled up. So on the season, he has 49 runs, 102 hits, 11 home runs, which is a little surprising.
Well, that's, like I said, low for him.
59 RBIs, 11 stolen bases.
That's a shocker. What's his batting average?
292.
So I nailed it right on
a
the head.
380 OBP and a 807 OPS.
807 OPS. So that's definitely going to be an upgrade for the Mariners at their first base decision. That is
yes.
That is definitely an upgrade for them. The only thing I'm concerned with...
Who is their current first baseman?
Wow. It's probably somebody that I'm going to sit there and go, oh my God, how did I not remember who
It's not
it was?
Jared Kelenic, is it? No, Jared Kelenick's on the Braves, right?
No. You know what? Let's see who it is. I could have sworn that I knew who it was too.
Because it's not Ty France. Ty France got traded last year or the year before that.
Who was their first baseman?
You're gonna say, and I'm gonna be like, I should have known that. Because their second baseman is
Donovan Solano?
I never would have guessed that. Their second baseman is Jorge Polanco.
Yeah, as of right now, it says Donovan Solano and Luke Raley would be
Luke Raley, yes. Luke Raley, that's who I was thinking
that's
of.
exactly why nobody thought of who was their first baseman. Because
No, I know Luke Raley because Luke Raley used to play for the Rays. And he was on the Rays, and Rays are in the same division as the Yankees.
I'll say something very nice. Snore. I don't know who any of those guys are. Well, I know who they are, but they're just not big names that you'd be like, oh, well, for the Dodgers. Oh, who's the first baseman of the Dodgers? Everybody knows it's Freddie Freeman. Oh, who's the first baseman for the Braves? Oh, it's Matt Olson. Oh, who's the first baseman for the Mets? Everyone knows it's Alonso. Same thing with Paul Goldschmidt. You know who it is.
They haven't been playing him recently.
Well, I mean,
it's been Ben Rice.
It's been Ben Rice has also been on a heater, but that's a little bit different. But speaking of both New York teams, between the Mets and the Yankees, we, like I mentioned before, we do have like we said, we are currently at the trade deadline, and the New York Mets and Yankees have both been rumored to be buyers at the deadline because both of them want to try and make their postseason playoff push. And obviously, you've heard a lot of rumors floating around of certain players going to certain locations.
Steven Kwan would be nice on the Mets.
Well, so they released a list of all of the players and where they could see these guys potentially ending up at the trade deadline. And some of the names that you see, I mean, there's a lot of them on both the Mets and Yankees list that we do have that I actually put an asterisk next to it, so you could see it.
Yeah.
But they're all labeled on here as both teams are showing interest in them at the exact same time. So
I know there are like some players that aren't even on the list that that the Yankees have checked in on. Like,
yeah, they have. Like
they've checked in on Dylan Cease. I saw last night, which I was surprised that they checked in on O'Neal Cruz.
Yeah, well, I also saw Philadelphia was supposedly checking in on O'Neal Cruz as well too.
But I mean, a player of that caliber, like being added to the Yankees roster or the Phillies roster, it would be.
Or the Mets roster. Because the Mets do need a center fielder.
No, but I feel like the Yankees would put him at shortstop.
Well, yeah, that's his natural position. He was a shortstop before they transitioned him to.
But what I'm saying is, like, if those are the only two teams that reportedly checked in on O'Neal Cruz, adding him to either of those rosters would be
would be insane. But so going back to the actual list, you see names like Johan Duran, Emmanuel Clase, Cade Smith, Griffin Jacks, David Bednar, Ryan Helsley, Reed Detmers, Zach Gallen. Both teams have shown potential interest in those guys. The Mets are a little bit different because I know that David Stearns has come out and said that he's relying more on bullpen. He said that they will keep some options open when it comes to center field and starting pitchers if they are of ace quality. He's not going to be going out and trade for a third baseman. So Eugenio Suarez, the Mets have already said that they are completely out on him. He will be on the Yankees list. But you have guys like Steven Kwan, who's a possibility, like you just said before. I'd love to have him added to the Mets lineup. He's got a lot of versatility, does not really have much power, but I think the Mets already have enough of that anyway. They need runners on base. They need a solid fielder that's going to get on base, that's not going to strike out too much, just put the ball in play. That's one thing that they've struggled with.
I see one player on the Mets list here that has very, very high reward, but also a pretty high risk. I wouldn't be mad if the Yankees go out and get him too. I see Luis Robert.
Yeah.
Dude was a stud 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
Even last year he was good too.
Last year he was good, but he wasn't as good as he's been in the past.
No.
Part of my assumption for that is that he plays for the White Sox, and anybody who would play for the White Sox wouldn't really I know it wouldn't affect their mentality or their mental health or whatever, but it could draw the love for the game out of you or something like that.
Yeah, it could.
I mean, Crochet got traded from the White Sox to the Red Sox, right?
Yep.
And the Red Sox gave up a lot for him, but with the way that Crochet's been pitching on the Red Sox, they should have gave up way more.
Oh, well, yeah, I would have think that they would have given up way more, too. The only thing that I'm a little bit skeptical about is I know,
he strikes out a lot.
He does strike out a lot. His batting average, I believe, this year is in the 220s, maybe even a little bit lower than that. But the upside is if you can get him back to that prime form that you saw from him years ago. Maybe it's just a change of location. Maybe it's a boost in confidence. I don't know what it could be, but if you get that version of Robert back and add him to the Mets lineup or the Yankees lineup or Phillies lineup or, I don't know, Boston's lineup. You add him to a team that can really contend, he is going to be a hell of an addition for whoever has
I am
him.
going to say this. I'm not saying this because I'm a Yankees fan. I don't want Boston to get him.
Oh, I know you don't.
No, I have two close friends that are Boston fans, and when we see each other, we talk about how there's not enough room in the outfield for everybody to play, because you have Duran, and then you're trying to play Roman Anthony, and then there's Romy Gonzalez, who plays in the outfield too, and they still have Yoshida, who I don't know if he got called back up yet. He might still be in AAA.
I was wondering what happened to him, because that was a huge signing when
they gave him a lot of money.
They gave him a ton of money, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, they got themselves a big superstar." And I know,
but he's never healthy.
Well, that's his big issue, is that he hasn't really been healthy at all. But when he is healthy, he's an insanely good ball player.
Yeah.
But that's what happens. I've seen to happen with a lot of the Japanese guys that Boston's brought in. I mean, I even remember when I was younger with the Daisuke Matsusaka era that they had. They got 3 good years out of him, and then after that, it was just straight nosedive. And I was like, I wonder what happened, because he was so effective in his prior years.
Oh.
So effective.
I know.
I wish we would have had him.
But what I'm saying is that, Boston doesn't have the room for him unless they trade Jarren Duran. I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, I would not be surprised if they do. I think that their goal is to try and get a little bit younger as well. They do have a lot of prospects that are on that main roster now.
No, I understand that, but, a name that I feel like would get traded, if anything, which is coming out of left field, is Trevor Story.
Well, no, I could see that as well, too. Maybe, but I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Bregman's on the move again, though, too.
No, Bregman said that since they traded Devers, he wouldn't be opposed to signing a long-term deal with Boston.
Well, obviously, but that's what he wants. It depends on what Boston wants.
Boston said I think they were open to it too. But if I'm
not
not wrong, guess who Bregman's agent is?
Is it Scott Boras?
I think it is Scott Boras.
God, what it?
Scott Boras has
Can
screwed
we find better agents for these
Scott
guys?
Boras has screwed players out of
Insane amounts of money.
a ton of money. Jordan Montgomery signed with the Diamondbacks the year after he won the World Series with the Rangers, but he didn't sign until spring training. As second he signed with Arizona, he fired Scott Boras. Smartest thing he could have done.
Oh, yeah, that's what a lot of these guys
Cody
want.
Bellinger waited, sat out for the – he wanted way too much money, according to what Scott Boras, I guess, was asking. He was asking for a lot.
Scott Boras.
He signed a 3-year deal with Chicago, but opted after the second year. I mean,
Trust me.
That's another thing, right? I said I want the Yankees to get Robert, but if they do get Robert, I don't see him being anything more than a bench bat because you have Grisham, you have Judge, and
I would start him over Grisham, though.
Grisham has great defense.
I know Grisham has very good defense, but I don't know, man. Like, it's...
I've been seeing stuff that Grisham could get moved because he is a free agent at the end of this year, and he does have some value right now.
Of course he does.
He has 17 home runs.
And that's why I think that he's... To be honest, I think that if they were to try and get Robert, he's probably in that package. And they move Grisham along with maybe 1 or 2 prospects for Robert. I'm telling you, I would assume probably closer to 1. Grisham and a prospect for Robert.
Yeah, but even with that, right? I'm just saying I don't think they get him. I know Bellinger has an opt-out after the season.
He ain't opting out.
He's not opting out. Even if he does opt out, he's not going anywhere.
No, they're going to end up re-signing him for more money.
He told Boris, right, if I get traded from the Cubs, the only spot I want to go is New York. He wanted to be on the Yankees for an obvious reason. His dad played for the Yankees.
Yep.
He loves, statistically in his career, he loves hitting at Yankee Stadium.
Well, who doesn't?
He's a great hitter.
There's a lot of people that do.
But, I mean, Bellinger's one of my favorite players on the team right now. His year's been overlooked due to Judge's insane year, but he's like...
Well, he's having a very stellar year anyway, too. But
that's what I'm saying.
The thing that I also saw about the Yankees list, at least, too, is there's a lot of really interesting names on here. So, obviously, we mentioned that they're in the market for a third baseman. So, you have Eugenio Suarez is one of the options.
Ryan McMahon
from Colorado is another option.
I'm not saying I wouldn't take him because obviously I would, but I was playing MLB The Show the other day, and I don't.
You're going to go off the show?
No, I'm gonna go off his contract.
Okay.
I believe he's getting paid $16.5 million per year for the next 3 years.
Oh, and the Yankees don't got that kind of money?
They have that kind of money, but like they have the money, but from the production that he's put up this year alone, I don't think he's worth that much.
Well, trust me, I don't think a lot of the guys that are getting what they're getting. Listen, I will say this. This is not a shot at some of the top players.
No, I'm not saying...
You think Shohei Ohtani's worth $70 million a year? He's probably one of the only ones because of the amount of money that
he's not even getting paid $70 million a year.
But I know, but for the valuation of his contract, I know it's over a certain amount of years, and he spread it all out so he gets generational wealth opposed to just regular income. But what I'm saying is Juan Soto, is he worth $60-something million?
No.
No. All these guys, the money value that they put up on their forehead, you might as well, it's like taking a piece of tape and writing on it and saying $45 million. They're not worth $45 million.
I know Judge is getting paid $40 a year.
But Judge can probably end up Ohtani and Judge are two different completely.
No,
animals.
but I'm saying
those guys don't count.
I'm saying like comparing you can't really compare Soto to Judge, but
no, you can't. But you see what I'm saying, though, is like it does not matter other than Judge and Ohtani just because of the amount of money that they bring in. When every Yankees fan, and people that aren't even Yankees fans, if you say, who's your favorite player on the New York Yankees, a lot of Yankees fans are going to say Aaron Judge. All of them have a freaking Aaron Judge jersey on. Almost all.
The one thing I am going to say is him re-signing did save the Yankees a lot of money.
Oh, no kidding.
No, because I'm saying because he did get a bigger contract from the Padres, and he did decline it to stay in New York.
I thought it was the Giants.
No, it was Padres.
Was it the
Padres offered him $410.
I think the Giants offered him somewhere in the fours too, and he said no.
I don't know if it was the Giants. They offered that contract to Arson Judge, not Aaron Judge.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's right. It was Arson Judge. His evil twin.
No, but what I'm saying is they would have had to take out the Judge chambers that they had in right field, and that probably would have
cost them a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Again, it's not like they don't have that money.
No, but Hal doesn't like to spend that money.
I know he doesn't like to spend. Money.
No, but what I'm saying is, the names I see on here, Suarez is a great bat. Doesn't really have the defense.
No.
Ryan McMahon, I would love to have him on the team. Like, he's great defensively, but, getting paid 16 M's a year. I'm not a GM, so I wouldn't know the whole thought process behind it, but, maybe it's the change of scenery thing, too, because he's playing for Colorado, who's also not
Not
the
good.
best.
No, they're one of the worst teams in the MLB. What about Arenado?
I would gladly take Arenado, even though his bat's not there. The defense is there, and that's
Yeah.
that's the one thing that they need. They had 10 errors the other night against Toronto. I don't know if it was 10, but I think they've had 10 errors against Toronto the entire season, or it might have been last. They had a crazy amount of errors the other night.
Yeah, no, I know they did.
That was the worst defensive game I've ever seen. All right, Cody Bellinger's mistake, not really his fault. The roof was open and the sun was setting, and he couldn't really find it.
Anthony Volpe.
I hate that guy. I hate him. I want him off of my team. Off of my team. Anthony Volpe might be the worst defensive shortstop that there is in the game.
Well, Aaron Boone doesn't think so.
I know he doesn't, and it makes me so mad.
I know it does. It's okay. But then what about Key Brian Hayes is a pretty good option, too.
I like Brian Hayes. I believe he's a switch hitter, right?
No.
No? Or he's a righty?
But he also has a little bit of legacy in him that could be a good reason why he goes to the Yankees. I don't know if you remember.
Didn't his dad?
His father made the the World Series clinching catch in foul territory for the New York Yankees when they won the World Series back in
I did see
2000s?
something
That
about
was his
that.
father playing third base. So it would also be a little bit fitting that he gets to follow up in his father's footsteps and go play for an organization he won a championship
The funny thing is,
with.
I've seen Brian Hayes' name connected to the Yankees for several years, but it just never happened. For the past 3 or 4 years, I've been seeing him as a name that the Yankees would go out and get.
Yeah, they've talked about it a lot.
But his production level hasn't been there, so they haven't done it, or they haven't needed to because they've had somebody that had better production at that position.
Well, to be honest with you, I think it was more of the sake of Key Brian Hayes is a good player. For the Pirates, he's been very good, but it's just when you look at the Yankees making their playoff push, because they always usually make the playoffs. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, well, they always miss the playoffs, because they're usually in it, and they always want to be buyers at the deadline, and there's always a couple guys that are at that same position as him that it's like, if you look at it, for example, go back to
their thought process right now is probably we can go get Brian Hayes, but why could we get him when we can get Suarez?
But that's my point. Is say for example during that year, you have either Key Brian Hayes or a prime Nolan Arenado when the hitting was there. Who are you going to take? You're going to take Nolan Arenado. Same thing with Eugenio Suarez hitting 30-something home runs this year. Would you rather have a guy that's pretty decent in the field, pretty good bat, or someone, especially for the Yankees, which we know they love bringing in, how about we go get a guy that's going to hit 30-something home runs and, has already got 30 on the season. He'll probably end up hitting, in the 40s? You go get a guy that's going to be a 40 home run hitter and that's decent enough at third base to solve your problem, or they'll try some other project and they'll say, hey, we'll stick him over at third base and put Suarez at DH. They will try something.
I saw something the other day on FanDuel's Instagram. I don't think it's going to happen.
Oh,
no.
What was it?
It was Paul Skeens getting moved. Because if you look at the Pirates, I don't think they're in a spot for a playoff position right now.
No, not at all.
And right now, Paul Skeens is worth. I'm not saying his value is going to go down.
Oh no, his value is only going to go up.
It's only going to go up, but
they can't pay him.
They can't pay him. They won't be able to pay him.
Well, he's not a free agent at the end.
No,
of this
he's
year
not.
Anyway.
He's got a few more years left on his. Left with the Pirates.
I would be very surprised.
I would be very surprised if Paul Skeens gets moved, but if the Pirates do trade him, they are going to get a lot from him.
Oh, they'd get so much.
I know that the Yankees came out and said that George Lombard Jr. and Spencer Jones won't be moved unless there's a offer that blows them away.
Would you package them both for Paul Skeens though?
I would do.
Because I get giving up your number one prospect and maybe a couple lower ones for Skeens, but you're like number 1 and 2 and a bunch of other, because they're not just going to take those two. It's going to end up being 4 prospects at minimum.
What I would do, and you may call me delusional.
I already do anyway, so let's hear it.
Would be the blockbuster trade of the deadline.
Oh, is it going to be? Please don't say Tariq Skubal.
No.
Okay, thank God.
It would be. And Yankee fans watching, you can get mad at me for whatever. I really don't care. I would do Lombard Jr. and Jones if we receive Paul Skeens and one of Brian Hayes or O'Neal Cruz along with him.
Well, I wouldn't say that you're delusional in the sake of wanting that to happen. I'm going to say you're delusional in the sake of the Pirates letting that happen. Especially with Skeens having more years, I could understand if this was his free agent year coming up. Same thing with O'Neal Cruz. There is no way they are going to – they know that they have the golden goose sitting in their hands right now. If you give him and your best player up for 2 prospects, you are smoking crack.
Not just 2 prospects. There'd obviously be more. But I'm saying, like, the only way I would be okay with the Yankees getting rid of them this year is if they get those 2 players in return in the deal for them.
Well, it would probably end up being those 2 plus
and a lot
3
more
others.
Yeah, but like
then I could understand. Yes, then I would say
I'm not just saying for the both of them like straight up. I'm just saying involved in the package, Lombard Jr. and Spencer Jones, who Spencer Jones has been on a tear in AAA.
He hit 3 home runs last game.
Spencer Jones, I believe, has he's only played 14 games in AAA.
He's played 19 games. He's got 13 home runs.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Spencer Jones is going on a tear, and the Yankees have nowhere to put him.
Yeah, well,
which is why I wouldn't be surprised if you look at their current outfield situation.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the season, Paul Goldschmidt's a free agent. I wouldn't be surprised if they let him go. And say, you know what?
Put Ben Rice at first base.
Put Ben Rice. Ben Rice could get traded. I've been seeing teams have called the Yankees with interest in Ben Rice.
That'd be a little shocking.
But they're calling for interest in Ben Rice not as a first baseman but as a catcher.
I know. I saw that as well too.
So what I've been seeing is either at the end of the season they're gonna tell Paul Goldschmidt, you know what, go. You great to have you on the team. Like, if you want to sign for a minimum and go on the bench, go for it. But they might say, hey, we have Spencer Jones, who's this young kid who's a left-handed power bat, the left-handed version of Aaron Judge, pretty much is what it's looking like in AAA. They might say, hey, Cody, you want to play first? Or do you want to stay in the outfield? Or you can rotate back and forth.
That's true. They could put Cody Bellinger at first
and then
base.
They could move Judge back to center field because we all know Dominguez can't field in center.
No. Dominguez has trouble fielding anyway.
Well, not. His defense has been better. It's been better this year.
It's been better, but it's still
when you put him
really
in center.
not that
When you
great.
put him in center field, it's worse.
He's a liability. Yeah, when he's a center fielder, he's a liability.
And then you put Jones in right field, and then you have Jones in right, Judge in center, or you move Judge to first base because that's what Harper did, and it's gonna save the longevity of Judge's career. You're obviously you do. It's more of a risk for you to play center field at the height of 6'7" than it is for you to play first base.
Yeah, that's true. But then again, I also think that Judge is a much better fielder than Bryce Harper ever really was. Harper was good. He had a good arm. Judge can track almost anything down.
No.
He's got a great arm. He's very smart IQ-wise when it comes to, looking at whether the wall's a little bit too close or the line gets too close. He reads things very well.
No, I'm not saying you're wrong, but what I'm saying is, if they want Spencer Jones to play, because Spencer Jones came out and said, I want to be a part of this organization.
Why don't they put Spencer Jones at first?
They could do that.
Especially if does he throw left-handed or right-handed?
I might throw.
I know he's a lefty bat. I know that for a fact. Because I remember seeing he's got one of the ugliest stances I've
I was
ever
just about to
seen.
say that. They were saying yesterday, they said it looked like a grandpa stance.
Yeah, that was one of the ugliest batting stances I've ever seen. But you know what? It works. It works. You hit 3 home runs, or what is it? Like I said, 13 home runs in 19 games.
All right.
Pretty
One
good.
thing people are going to say that I know they're going to say because it's just pretty obvious. I know he strikes out a lot.
Who?
Spencer Jones.
Oh.
But
So does Giancarlo Stanton. Well, so did Giancarlo Stanton.
so did Stanton. So Stanton's been like a single machine this year.
Well, I know he has. With that day, it's much
I
better.
mean, I'd be happy if he stopped, I know he's a power bat, but if he stopped hitting for power and just focused on, getting on base, I'm all for it.
Yeah, but you know what his big problem is? It's not even that he can get on base. It's when he does get on base.
He can't run.
He is slower than molasses. That dude cannot run.
But that's why you have him as the DH, and you only use him as a pinch hitter if you need him.
Yeah, but a DH is supposed to be a little bit more power, and this guy's going to get on base and then what? Not be able to run the bases and get thrown. I watched this man get thrown out at so many different bases so many times because he's that slow.
No, here's my. It's not that he's slow. It's that when he runs at full speed, he gets hurt.
So he's slow. I
No,
mean, it's
no.
either he runs at full speed and get hurt and he doesn't play, or he runs at a slower speed and he's just slow.
He's slow.
So-
He's not slow like he's slow by choice, not like
Well,
because no. Think about it this way, right?
I know.
If you're getting paid like over, I believe it's like somewhere around like 25 to 30 million a year. Would you rather run full speed and risk getting hurt, or would you rather run not as fast and continue to help contribute to a team that's looking to win a World Series?
Well, a guy that's at the end of his career, I'd run as fast as I could, knowing that he's probably not going to last that much longer anyway.
I understand that point of view of it, but like from the Yankees standpoint, right? Look at what they did with LeMahieu. If he's constantly getting hurt, they might just get rid of him.
Well, and that wouldn't be the worst thing.
It wouldn't be the worst thing that the Yankees do, but what I'm saying is if he is looking for a ring, Stanton, I do believe he deserves a ring because he was a great player. I do believe it can be, if he reaches 500 home runs before his career ends, he can be a
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, close.
But back to what we were talking about. Spencer Jones throws.
I mean, it doesn't really matter if he's lefty or righty.
He bats lefty and he throws lefty.
That's why I was saying they love putting lefties at first base. Because that stretch, you're closer to the left side instead of having, the glove on your left hand, and then you got to kind of turn a little bit differently. At least with lefty, it gives you more availability to either backhand
Teach
towards
Spencer
the line.
Jones how to play third base.
Yeah, no, third baseman, left-handed? No, I doubt that. But let's
put
get
Jazz
off the
at second
Yankees a
base.
little bit. We've talked enough about them because we're going to end up coming back to them anyway. But I was looking this week at some trade opportunities or mock trades that people were coming up with. I guess I'll start out with the Yankees ones, and then we can end up coming back to the Mets ones just so it's a little bit easier of a transition here. But so John Heyman, who's obviously an insider, was coming up with a mock trade where he had the Yankees getting Eugenio Suarez and Zach Gallen from the Arizona Diamondbacks for Cam Schlittler, Cam Smith, and their number 13 prospect, who's a pitching prospect, left-hander Brock Selvage. Would you do that trade?
No.
No.
And here's why. You look at Eugenio Suarez, who is having a monster year, putting up insane numbers at the plate with the amount of power he's been showing, the amount of whatever. The elevation is different, like in the air is different in Arizona than it is in New York.
Yeah.
Granted, Arizona's field is bigger than Yankee Stadium, but there's no guarantee he'll put up the same numbers at Yankee Stadium.
True. Okay.
Okay. And even though Zach Gallen is a former Cy Young candidate, maybe he just needs to change the scenery, and he'll be back to his former self. I don't think giving up Cam Schlittler for 2 rentals on players who will be free agents after the season is over is a smart idea.
Okay.
Because if you look at your pitching staff, right, you have an aging Garrett Cole who's coming back from Tommy John surgery next year. He's going to be 36 years old coming back from Tommy John surgery. No one knows how good that's going to be because he's an older pitcher coming back from Tommy John. I'm hoping he's like Justin Verlander, who came back from Tommy John and just shoved the year after.
It's possible.
But
He's good enough to.
I'm not denying the fact that he's good enough. But from the numbers that he's been putting up when he's healthy, he's fine. But then you look at Rodon, who's also getting up there in age. I think he's 31 or 32, maybe even 30. You have Max Fried, who I know is over 30. I believe he's 31 going to turn 32. Could be 32 turning 33.
Probably close, yeah.
Then you have Luis Gil, who's supposed to come back in a week or two.
Well, he's still young, though.
He's still young anyway. You have Clark Schmidt. But from what I've been seeing and the numbers and the way that Cam Schlittler has been pitching, people are comparing him and saying that he could be the next They're calling him Baby Garrett Cole. With the way he's been pitching, I mean, against Seattle, he had 5 innings, 5 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts. That's literally
Average.
That's average. He did struggle against Toronto with the strikeouts, but he did pitch 5 innings. He gave up more hits, but he gave up less runs.
Okay.
But he only had 3 strikeouts.
Well, he's more of a work in progress, I think.
He's more of a
anyway.
work in progress type of player, but with the way that Schlittler has came into the rotation with Clark Schmidt being out for the year, I am going to say that it has not been as bad as people thought it could be.
Yeah, no, definitely. Now, getting off that topic a little bit as well, too, we have, what about the Key Brian Hayes? They have Key Brian Hayes for JT Brubaker and Carlos LaGrange, who's your number 2 pitching prospect.
Carlos LaGrange, I mean, when I follow baseball, I don't really follow minor league baseball as much.
Well, he is your number 2
He's
prospect.
our number 2 prospect. For Brian Hayes, I wouldn't give up a top 5 prospect for him. JT Brubaker can get off the team. I don't care. I don't care about JT Brubaker. He was on the Pirates to start his career, but I don't really care about JT Brubaker. He hasn't been that great this year.
Now, the one we talked about before was Clase, Emmanuel Clase from Cleveland, for Elmer Rodriguez Cruz, who's your number 7 prospect, Cade Smith, who's your number 18 prospect, and Brando Maella, who's your number 26 prospect.
That one I would do because the Yankees bullpen needs help.
Other than Devin Williams,
They have
Weaver
Devin
really
Williams.
hasn't been the same.
No, he's been better
Well,
as
he's
of late.
been better, but he still has not looked like his top
As
self.
of
that you
as
saw
of
him.
right now in the bullpen, the only I don't even know if this guy's still hurt, but the only 3 arms I could trust right now are Fernando Cruz, Devin Williams, and Luke Weaver. I am sick and tired of seeing Aaron Boone going out there. We had a tie game, and we let Jonathan Loizaga. We were up by I think 3 or 4 runs, and we let Loizaga go in there for an inning, and all of a sudden the game is tied. Jonathan Loizaga was good, but he kept getting hurt, and now he's not the same player that he once was.
No, he was not. He has been actually very, very bad. I don't know what happened.
Ian Hamilton. I get Max Fried had to miss a start because of the blister on his finger, but why are you putting him as a starting pitcher, especially in Atlanta?
I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense.
I know.
Tim Hill is good, but he's old. He's 38.
Yeah, no.
I can't. We can't keep Clase is a great pitcher. He's been a great pitcher for Cleveland for the last several years.
I know.
And if he we need another bullpen arm. I'd even take Griffin Jacks or
Danny Colon.
Danny Colon or whoever. I take this bullpen needs help.
Well, listen, if anyone's going to complain about the bullpen other than you, it is the New York Mets bullpen.
Well, hold on.
Our bullpen is trash.
I give me a second.
Trash.
I mean, I take Johan Duran, but sometimes Aaron Boone puts players out there who I don't even know.
That's the same way with the Mets. We do the same thing. Here's a perfect example. I was watching the game the other night, and I believe it was the Mets or Sean Manaea was pitching against the Cincinnati Reds, and he only had let up 1 hit over 4 innings, and it was a solo home run. They were winning the game 2-1. He pulls him out in the 5th or 4th inning and puts in Alex Castillo. Alex Castillo proceeds to come in and let up 3 home runs and 5 runs in 1 inning. They ended up losing that game. And I don't even know, before the season started, I did not know who Alex Castillo even was. But yet they want to continue to trot out these bums. It's the same thing. Both New York teams love doing it right now. Obviously, we know that there's some injuries at both sides of it. I know the Mets bullpen is more injured in that sense because we've lost a lot of guys. But I mean, come on. It's just brutal. I mean, that's the biggest thing that they obviously, Stearns has said it, they need to make moves. And speaking of them making moves, I know SNY did some mock trades.
Yes, I'm just going to say one more thing. I wouldn't be surprised if the Yankees do land Suarez,
Oh, yeah, I think they do, to be honest.
but I don't think it'll be for Schlittler. I mean, they obviously do need help in their starting rotation, and Zach Gallen would help. But if we get Zach Gallen and Suarez and we don't resign either of them, I do think Schlittler will be great. And I do think we should hold on to him.
I would hold on to him as well too, but it's all dependent for the right price. It's got to be for
it's
the
got to
the
be
right
it's got to be
return.
for the right price.
But that's the one thing. Now we'll actually go into the Mets a little bit because I was very surprised at some of these as well too. I was looking at them a few. You can go ahead and read them obviously since I'm going to be the one that's going to answer the questions on whether I want to do
I
them
know
or not.
this trade right here is most likely not going to happen.
Yep.
But if it does, I'd be surprised. The Mets acquire outfielder Jarren Duran from the Boston Red Sox for right-handed pitcher Brandon Sproat.
Yep.
It was the number 5 prospect. First baseman Ryan Clifford, number 7 prospect. And right-handed pitcher Blade Tidwell, who is the number 10 prospect.
See, for me, when I was looking at this trade, I immediately sat there and said, no, I don't want to do the trade. I think that Duran is a very good player. I think that he's a big piece in the outfield that the Mets could potentially use. That being said, I do not want to give up one of our best pitching prospects. He's actually, although he's the number 5 overall, he is our number 2 pitching prospect, only behind Jonah Tong. I do not want to give up Brandon Sproat, and I'm a little bit skeptical to give up Ryan Clifford. Blade Tidwell, I've already seen him pitch at the major league level. He's shown some signs that he can be good with a little bit of development. I would not mind him being a trade piece depending on who, like I said, the right person coming in. But for me, I really do not want to give up Sproat because, like I said before, they gave us some stats over his last few starts that he's had in AAA. Although his ERA is a 4.34 on the year, he hasn't allowed a run in 23 consecutive innings. And Clifford has 17 home runs in AAA. He's only batting .224, but he's got power. 55 RBIs as well, too. So I don't know if I'd want to give up those guys for Duran because then I don't even know if Duran would be there long-term either. So that's just my opinion.
And the next one, the Mets acquire outfielder Cedric Mullins and Gregory Soto from the Baltimore Orioles for right-handed pitcher Nate Dome, their number 16 prospect, and right-handed pitcher Jack
Wenninger, I think?
Wenninger?
Yeah.
Their number 14 prospect.
See, well, those guys, I wasn't even really sure of who they were either. So my answer to that question would be, yeah, I would definitely do that, I think. Just because, for me, I know that Mullins is definitely going to be a better hitting option than Tyrone Taylor. The fielding, I don't know, because Taylor's been very good in the field, but the Mets do need an everyday center fielder that's going to be able to produce on the offensive side of the ball. And plus, if they were able to get a relief pitcher in that and they wouldn't even really have to give up anything serious, I think it's the number 16 and number 14 prospects for a guy who struggled a little bit but may just need that change of scenery as well, and a left-handed relief pitcher, which the Mets don't have, that's an upgrade over what they have now. Yeah, I would do that. No question about it.
Okay. And there's one more. And then there is 2 more. And then there's one I saw earlier today, two I saw earlier today, which was kind of, we'll touch upon that. The Mets acquired David Bednar from the Pittsburgh Pirates for outfielder Drew Gilbert, their number 12 prospect, and catcher / first baseman Chris Suero,
I think.
Suero, their number 21 prospect.
Now, for me, I think I'd lean towards saying yes. Only reason why I say that is just because Bednar is having a very good year with Pittsburgh. He's got a 2.38 ERA through 38 appearances and 46 strikeouts, and his whip is actually a 1.09, which is pretty good. The only thing I'm a little concerned about, I mentioned this before, I take this very serious, is I'm afraid to let up a top 15 prospect in Drew Gilbert. I think they've also mentioned with the Mets that there's a lot of prospects that are pretty much ready to go and some that still need a couple more years. For me, the 5 that I would try to refrain from getting rid of would be Brandon Sproat, Jonah Tong, Jet Williams, Drew Gilbert, and Ryan Clifford. Those are our big 5 guys that I think are the most MLB ready out of any other prospect that they have in their pool right now. So for me, as much as I'd want to say no, I'd probably end up saying yes only because it's one prospect. So, or like one big prospect, and Bednar's a good relief pitcher, and I believe they'd probably end up signing him to a little bit longer of a deal anyway to where he'd stay for some time. But at the same time, there is a side of me that's still very skeptical. We've seen the Mets get rid of a lot of young talent in certain trades in other years with these prospects. Pico Armstrong, I knew you were going to say it. For Javier Baez, that's what I'm saying, is the Mets have pulled the trigger on some of those trades, and it ends up coming back to bite them in the you-know-what. So I don't know if I want to do it. I'd probably say yes, though. That's a little more on the fence.
And then another one we have here is the Mets acquire right-handed pitcher Zach Gallen from the Arizona Diamondbacks for infielder Jesus Baez, their number 8 prospect, and left-handed pitcher Zach Thornton, an unranked prospect.
150% yes. 150% yes. I've said this before when I brought up the Mets in previous weeks. They have so many infielders on this roster that it's insane to me that they want to continue to hold on to those infielder prospects. Look at the young infielders they have now. You have Ronnie Mauricio. You have Brett Beatty. You have Mark Vientos. You have Luis Angel Acuna. Now they're also talking about Jet Williams. Lindor's going to be there for a while. You got guys in the infield already. If you have an overabundance of infielders, I heard that there's a possibility that they trade one of those guys. If you don't even have to get rid of one of those guys and you give up a prospect to get yourself an ace or a guy that could easily be a better pitcher in your rotation than some of the other guys they've had, without hesitation, I would pick up Zach Gallen myself from the airport and drive him to Citi Field. So, yes, I would 150% do that trade.
Okay, so
150.
Building off that statement, right? Going back to what I said about the Yankees not trading Spencer Jones, even though they have an abundance of outfielders, I feel like Spencer Jones has a bat that's just made for Yankee Stadium. Like,
yeah. You could say that,
You could say that, but what I'm trying to say is, like, I said no to Zach Gallen and Suarez for Schlittler. If we can get, I'm not really like Brooke Selvage could go. I really don't care. Cam Smith can go, but if we can hold on to Schlittler, I don't care who they give up to get Gallen and Suarez. Ke'Bryan Hayes, if we can get Ke'Bryan Hayes for Clayton or for JT Brubaker and somebody else besides Carlos LaGrange.
Oh, LaGrange, yeah.
Carlos LaGrange, go for it.
I would just, like I said, I think who was their number 2 prospect? See,
Carlos LaGrange.
No, not him. The number 2 hitting prospect for the Yankees. You said that there was Spencer Jones, and who's the other guy?
George Lombard Jr.
George Lombard.
He is 19 years old.
I know he's very good. I just, for some reason, I had a little brain fart.
No, I know. I'm just letting everybody know who's watching. He's 19 years old, and he is dominating the minor league system.
If I was the Yankees, I think I would only have 3 guys that I would hold off on getting rid of, and it would be Schlittler, Lombard Jr., and Spencer Jones. If you can get rid of any other prospects to get Suarez and Gallen, like you said, I would probably do it as well.
Like, if we put LaGrange in the first trade instead of Schlittler,
you'd probably
go for it.
Yeah.
Because there's no real way to know how they're gonna turn out unless
they've pitched at the MLB level.
Yes.
Yeah. At least you've seen something from Schlittler. LaGrange, I don't think, has ever pitched at the MLB.
No, he has not.
So, that being said, I think that we could wrap
Hold
up
on.
there with
I saw 2 things
we'll
on
touch on
Instagram this morning. I believe it was on it was an SNY thing about trades between the Yankees and the Mets.
Oh, is it what I think it was? The Mark Vientos for Jason Dominguez straight up?
Yes.
No.
I saw Mark Vientos for Dominguez, and then I saw Jeff McNeil for Trent Grisham.
What? No. See, I'm pretty sure that article was titled "New York Yankees and Mets Trades That Would Make You Very Confused." No.
I just saw them, and I'm just like, why?
No.
Why would that happen? Like, I get Dominguez has struggles, but like...
No, and no. I would not do any of those trades.
I mean, looking at it from this point of view, Dominguez has struggled at the major league level, and so has
Vientos?
No, I don't think it was for Vientos. I think it was for Brett Beatty.
Even
Brett Beatty has also struggled at the major league level, though.
Not anymore. He's not in his past 11 or 12 games. He's slashing 313 with a on-base percentage of 360, and his slugging is up there a little bit more too. It was ever since the day that he announced, I believe it was his engagement.
Oh, well, yes, I know.
He's been phenomenal for them, and he's been a great piece at third base, too. That, to be honest with you, Brett Beatty is one of the guys on this team right now that's in that younger group I don't want to get rid of. I'd rather get rid of Mauricio or Vientos before I'd give up on Brett Beatty.
Well, you can say the same thing. Oh, no, you can't say the same thing for Volpe, but, even, he's hit 3 home runs in the last week. When's the last time he's done that? Never. I wouldn't care if we trade Anthony Volpe. Get rid of him. I don't want him on the team.
Oh, you're gonna break the damn speaker over here. Jesus.
My bad. My bad. I don't want him on the team.
I know you
I'm
don't.
sorry.
I know you don't.
I can't talk about it anymore.
Okay,
nope.
We'll get off the MLB talk. Okay, so now we have a couple more things before we do end up wrapping it up because we are at, pretty close time. So I think we'll just focus on the NFL and NBA quick updates. We'll save the college football for another week because we do have, obviously, like I said, more time before that starts. But just to finish up here with a few updates. So in the NBA, we saw the Los Angeles Clippers make 2 moves in the past week that I think caught the NBA by a little bit of surprise. The first one was Bradley Beal signing a 2-year, $11 million contract after his buyout with the Phoenix Suns. But then the second one, I can kind of see. We were talking about this guy a few weeks ago.
Yes. I mean, he announced, I think I said, was it last week? Or
it may have been last week.
Last week, we were talking about him, and I said that this year was going to be the last year he plays in the NBA.
Yes.
And I don't know what team. He started out with the Hornets or the Pelicans, one of those.
He started out with the Hornets.
He started out with the Hornets. And then I think he went to the Pelicans, or he went from the Hornets to the Clippers.
He went from the Hornets, I believe, to the Clippers because that's
he
when
went to the Hornets
Lob
and
City.
He went to Lob City. Obviously, they signed Chris Paul to a 1-year vet minimum deal.
I was thoroughly surprised. I thought he was going to stay with San Antonio.
I'm not surprised. No, I'm not surprised. Chris Paul, as much as he probably did want to stay with San Antonio, Chris Paul probably went back to a team that he felt like he played for, he loved. I'm not saying this in any way like the Chris Paul didn't like the Pelicans or he didn't like the Spurs, the Suns, the Warriors.
I'm just going to sit here and I'll say it. I thought for sure Chris Paul in his final year would want to go to a team
that is contending,
that's trying to win a championship. And I'm looking at the roster now because I made sure I looked into that as well. Their starting rotation is James Harden, Bradley Beal, Kawhi Leonard, John Collins, and Ivica Zubac. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say...
You know what that sounds like to me?
Good.
Sounds like a whole lot of injuries waiting to happen.
Well, not only does it sound like a whole lot of injuries, this sounds like a team that was relevant back in 2017.
I was just about to say that.
If you would have looked at this roster 7-8 years ago, people would say, holy smokes, that team is incredible. Now it's full of a bunch of vets that have all been fairly injury prone. And, I mean, they do have depth now with Chris Paul, Chris Dunn, Derrick Jones Jr., and Brooks Lopez. But at the same time, it's that is the senior citizen team of the NBA, I think, right now. And it's at what point do you sit there and you say to yourself, we want to win a championship? I thought Chris Paul would have sat there and said, you know what? In my last NBA season, I really want to win an NBA Finals. That's the one thing he has not done. And he goes to a team that I don't think is going to be contending, to be honest.
Neither do I. One more thing about the NBA that I'm just going to say is, I think we did touch upon this last week. Damian Lillard re-signed with the Pacers. But
Pacers?
No, not the Pacers. The Blazers.
Portland Trail Blazers.
He re-signed. We went back to the Blazers. Okay. Another thing. I'll touch upon what I'm gonna say after. I don't understand. I get great. He went back to Portland, but I don't understand why the media is making it this big thing because Dame's not gonna get to play this year.
It's just the feeling of nostalgia.
I know, but
which it wasn't that long ago anyway.
It was literally 2 seasons ago, but it's not I'm not gonna say it didn't get any better, but it's not there's even if he played,
they're still not gonna be good either.
Yeah. Something else that I think happened, which I'm gonna check this because it could have been a parody account.
It could have been a parody.
Actually, no, it's not. It's not true. Russell Westbrook, I think he went back to the Lakers.
Did he?
Yeah, I think he signed a 2-year deal with the Lakers recently.
All right. You're gonna make me look it up now because I know we only have so much time. Let's see here. Russell Westbrook.
I could be wrong.
No. He is a free agent still.
Okay, so
he is
I am
not
wrong.
signed yet. You are.
It was
incorrect.
definitely a parody account.
Yeah. Well, he's also getting a little bit closer to retirement. But speaking of retirement, now we'll transition to the NFL really quick. Tyrann Mathieu, the safety for the New Orleans Saints, obviously formerly known as the Super Bowl champion safety from the Kansas City Chiefs, announced his retirement from the NFL on Tuesday, July 22nd, after 12 seasons in the NFL. And he was a 2013 NFL draft pick to the Arizona Cardinals.
Coming out of LSU.
Coming out of LSU as an All-American. So he was actually fourth in Rookie of the Year voting in 2013, and by his third season, he was a Pro Bowler and a first-team All-Pro. He spent his first 5 years with the Cardinals, 1 season with the Houston Texans, then played 3 years with the Kansas City Chiefs, where he did win a Super Bowl and was named twice to the All-Pro first team, which is very good. He joined the New Orleans Saints in 2022, where he
Didn't he win multiple Super Bowls?
No, I think he only won 1 when he was there. I could be wrong. It may be multiple. When I looked it up, it said 1. So he went to the Saints in 2022. He spent the final 3 years of his career there, and I saw a lot of people arguing, saying that he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And this is where I kind of disagree with a lot of people. I think that he has a shot to make the Hall of Fame. I definitely don't think that he's going to be a first ballot. And the only reason why I say this is because I did a little bit of research on the average safety that was in the Hall of Fame. And here's what they have. So usually the safeties that have made the Hall of Fame spent 13 years in the league. He played 12. So fairly close. They've played more than 180 games. He played 180 on the dot and started in 171. He is more...
Impressive.
You have to have more than 1,000 tackles. He is 838. Has between 35 and 60 interceptions. He's got 36, so he's close. Has 4+ All-Pro selections. He's got 3. Has 4 Pro Bowl selections. He's also got 3. And was on an all-decade team, which he was in the 2000s, and often has 1 or more Super Bowl rings. He's got 1. So, on average, in most categories, he's right at the threshold. But for a couple of those categories, he's just below.
Yeah.
I think that he's at least, at minimum, Hall of extremely good. Hall of Fame, especially, no. First ballot, no. Maybe mid to late tier ballots, I could see him potentially squeaking in. I don't know if he will. It's a possibility. I'd say that it's a 50-50 chance. But I saw people saying, oh, easy first ballot Hall of Famer. And I'm going, first ballot? First ballot?
I mean,
what do you think about that? Do you think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer?
I don't think he could be. I think he could be a first ballot, but I don't see it happening.
I don't see it.
I don't see it happening. But like, if he played in the NFL, if he played all 12 seasons the way he played at LSU, then for sure.
Well, for sure. But the thing is, they're saying off of what his stats are, because you can't go back.
I
saw
somebody the other day on the internet compare Tyrann Mathieu's LSU college highlights to Tavon Austin's highlight tape.
That was probably in the same thread. I saw that too, saying, "Oh, his highlight tape was legendary, just like
Tavon Austin."
Well, it was Tavon Austin's, and then there was was it Demar? No. Who was it? The guy that was from Oregon. Oh my God. We'll talk about that at some point too. But his
receiver?
Something Demarius? No, not Demarius Thomas. DeAnthony Thomas?
Robinson, DTR.
No, it wasn't DTR. But I don't.
Oh,
remember. The guy that was like the punt returner for
yes,
Oregon.
Yes.
I think his name was DeAnthony Thomas.
Yeah, you might be right about that.
And he was nasty. I remember that highlight tape and was like, oh my God, this guy's crazy. But then we also had 2 other quick things because, I said, we got a very limited amount of time here. So to finish off a little bit, there was 2 more big things. Number 1.
Hold on. I'm going to before you say the next thing, I'm going to say that somebody got released yesterday, which was unexpected.
Oh.
Christian Wilkins of the Las Vegas Raiders got released.
You were right. I forgot to say that.
He was signed, I believe, not too long ago. He was only in the Raiders for 1 or 2 years.
I think they signed him to a 5-year deal.
And they released him because to me, he looked healthy. The other day, he was in the Raiders training.
Complications.
He was in the Raiders training facility, apparently, I guess, rehabbing, and he was singing and dancing, and he looked fine. But, now he's just in the free agent market waiting for a team to sign him.
Well, the Raiders are stupid now because I think they said that he had $57.5 million guaranteed of his contract left, and they're gonna have to eat that.
They're gonna have to eat that, and I'm gonna say this: on the Hard Knocks season, when the Giants were the spotlight of the offseason Hard Knocks, one of the Giant scouts said that he was best friends with Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence, if you somehow find this and watch it,
you don't need him.
We don't need him, but it would be great to have him. Another thing I'm gonna say is that Sauce Gardner is an incredible human being. He, when Garrett Wilson signed his contract extension, he got his the same day, but waited about a week to sign it so Garrett Wilson can get the recognition that he deserves.
I did see that as well, too. It's actually funny that you mentioned that as well, too. That is a very cool move on his part.
You don't see many NFL players doing that, especially the younger ones.
No.
At that.
That's impressive. That's very surprising. And it's
one thing I'm going to say, that draft class that the Jets had, the first 3 rounds,
was very top-notch.
Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson, Garrett Wilson, and Breece Hall were the first 4 picks that they had in that draft.
That's solid. That's very solid. Speaking of, former first-round picks.
From the Jets,
Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams signed a 1-year deal with the Las Vegas Raiders on Tuesday. They did not mention how much money it was for. I think
you know what? Signing Jamal Adams was a tipping point, which led them to be like, we don't have the money to pay for Christian Wilkins, so let's just release him and eat the $57 million.
Yeah, and they signed a guy that has been very injury-prone and nowhere near what he was expected to be in the NFL. But
damn.
Then the last thing we will wrap up with, since we talked about the Jets.
Did I get cut?
Yeah, with the door.
yeah.
But the last thing that we will wrap up with, it does have to do a little bit with the Jets. So sorry, Jets fans, but
this is very, very yesterday at well, obviously training camp has started this week officially, and I guess I think it was the second day.
No, it was the first day. It was yesterday. But
the first day of training camp.
Yeah, it started a couple days ago. But on Thursday. Justin Fields got carted off the field with an apparent lower leg injury, which had a lot of Jets fans scared. Now, granted, they did come back with test results. It is only a dislocated toe, so he's only considered day-to-day. He's not going to miss any severe time, but that's why we all hate and love football season at the same time. Is the minute the season starts getting right around the corner and an injury happens, your whole season could very potentially be ruined. So we're glad to have all of that back. But that being said,
we want to thank you for joining us for this episode number 5 of the Straight Outta Stratford podcast. I am Julian, along with my co-host
Zach. I am here. Let's go. What a great episode today.
And we will be here next week to record episode number 6.
Yes. Peace.
Later.